Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel, and today a long anticipated aircraft is in the simulator finally. Now this is a beta look. This is not a finished aircraft yet. Aerosoft have very kindly sent me a copy of this to take a look at. It is in production still. We know the price, we know the release date of the 19th of January, ballpark, and the price is going to be €29.99. So same price as the extended in P3D and FSX. Now what do we get? We get the 100 and 300 variants with straight floats, amphibian floats, tundra tyres, wheels, 3 and 4 blade propeller variants, and cargo, passenger and skydive drop versions. As you can see here, lots of versions. These are all one livery at the moment. I don't know whether that'll change, but those are the liveries you get. Now, there are some things that are obviously going to be updated. I was told by Aerosoft. Obviously, the manual is included. It's a very extensive manual. I've just flicked through it myself. It is humongous, and it's not finished yet, so they're still working on that. And some sounds are not yet added / tweaked, and some sequences are off, and some animations still need tweaking. So the aircraft is very much a beta product here. This is not a finished aircraft, so I'm not going to judge it as finished for this review. However, I am a massive fan of the Twin Otter. What is it? Well, the guys at de Havilland Canada had DHC-3s, the Otters, and they're like, you know what, this could be better. We need and then maybe another engine for safety. We could do a test. We extend the cabin of an Otter, you know, put a nose cone on it, and we'll put some engines on the wings instead. Some turboprop engines, these newfangled turboprops, and let's see what we can do with it. Will it maintain its stall abilities and also be safer with twin engines and a little faster? The answer was yes, and so a legend was born. The Twin Otter. This is, of course, a 19-passenger, short takeoff and landing utility aircraft. Built between 1965 and 88. Viking Air, of course, produced the type certificate, or purchased it, and re-began production in 2008, and still are. It's a fixed landing gear aircraft with supported wings, which is unusual for a turboprop in its own right. These are incredibly popular around the world to this date, with the original de Havilland Canada ones still operating and the new Viking ones. And this is one of the few times where I would personally say, let's go outside actually for a quick look here, that glass in a bush plane would be a good idea because it reduces its dry weight by nearly 250 kilos. That's an extra fat passenger or a fair bit of cargo. Although how well that will stand up to bush flying and hard landings, I don't know. Now this is the Tundra variant of the aircraft with the 3-blade propeller, the 300. And the modelling is really nice, actually. I do love what Aerosoft have done with this. For a bigger plane, it looks so good. And I love the stance here of the Tundra model. We're going to be flying this one today. We won't look at the amphibian floats or the straight wheels, because I'll probably take one of those for a flight in a later video. But for this first look, this is what we have. And the drooped elevator is quite nice, actually. The plane does that. And I always love the detailing that Aerosoft put into their products. The soot from the engines there on the tail surface, always a nice feature. I'm not sure how much of this has actually been transferred across from the Aerosoft Twin Otter Extended they did for P3D. We'll find out, I guess. It does look very similar, but of course the materials and appearance of everything is so much nicer with the engine we have in MSFS. So what can we do with this thing? That is the question. The model looks good. That's obvious. Let's quickly go inside here for a second, and I'm going to pop a couple of things. No, I need to take off the control blocks. Let's pop these. Yes, all the wonderful things that doors and hatches do open. The nose cone actually swings open on the 100 model. And, of course, you can open the rear. Can I actually... Is this one of those ones where I have to go inside and do it? Where's the door? Is there a hatch I have to press? There is probably one somewhere. I'm not going to waste your time on this video. Oh, there's a door handle. Yeah, there we go. That was our door handle right there. I don't have to come down here to actually reach it again. Yes, I do. Okay. So, door handle does work. I love this because, again, it's a favourite aircraft of mine, and I'm excited to see how she does. It's going to be a real tough sell to convince me that this is... well, that was wrong language to use. I should say I really am going to be fairly positive about this just because I like the aircraft. Yes, Aerosoft sent me a copy, but I do love the aircraft itself. But I will be very critical because I love the aircraft. So that's the balance we'll get there. So basic power's on, and I'm going to begin startup sequence on the aircraft. So throttles are set to idle. Those are back. Let's pull back to fuel. Let's get our boost pumps to on. Is that actually set to on? I'm always very reluctant. Yes, that's forward is on. Okay, so fuel tank set to normal. So DC master is on. Ignitions are on. There we go. Set DC source to battery. And we're going to begin our start sequence on the engines here for the Twin Otter. So unlike the real one where you have to hold it over, you can just click it over with the mouse button in Flight Sim. Some of the sound sequencing is a bit off, but that is expected with this being a beta variant of the aircraft. It's early access, if you will, so not everything is finished. So we'll wait for our NG to come up, and then we're going to give it some motion lotion. Got 18, 19 there. Now the left engine's the one where the sound tends to be a bit weird, and or the engine might turn off occasionally. It's a bit of a weird one right now with it being early access, but we do seem to be accelerating the engine. It's not clicked in yet, / the sound hasn't come in. You'll notice when we start the right engine, it does in fact do that. Yep, engine appears to have fired. There we go, let's do the right engine. Start up. That's what I mean, the sounds are a little bit odd when it kind of cycles in on that left engine. NG coming up to the right. And then we get the fuel ignition kind of sound almost immediately with the right engine. And that's going to come up as well. So whilst we're there, put the yoke back on here. Controls are free and clear. We are good. We are good there. Okay, so we do have our buttons here on the yoke, of course, which do various different things. Of course, that's our trim. But we have the autopilot heading and yaw damper for controls on that panel there. Engines all in the middle. This is very much a clock shop, as Aerosoft call it. Steam gauges up the wazoo, which is nice to get a new aircraft in the sim that's all steam. The autopilot functionalities, of course, are here. Altitude set there. We've got our flight recorders down here. That's our heading, track, and other options and systems. Of course, we have the usual radio stacks we'd expect. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good here, so let's get this thing moving. Parking brakes are off, and let's go about this whole business of flying, shall we? Yeah, sometimes cycling between pushing the actual fuel mixture levers here, condition levers in the aircraft, and having to push it forwards on my actual physical control do sometimes desync, and then it stops the engine because, you know, that's fun. So I have to hit those again. Put landing lights back off. We'll just restart them with the fuel on because it does work. It shouldn't, but it does. It's a cut-off between my flight controls, and this will be something you might experience with turboprops in the sim, especially if it's a twin turboprop where you're having to actually physically introduce it twice. And one of the more recent updates to the sim broke turboprop condition levers. Why, we don't know. It's stupid. But the engines will fire off again here. And that's very much a DeSobo issue on that side of things, that the condition levers and fuel flow with turboprops is kind of balky right now. There was an update today to the sim. It's not exactly fixed much. Okay, there goes that engine. Let's kick the right one on. And we should be good to go. Yep, those are fired. So that's our left engine firing. We'll just use some rudder to compensate as we taxi whilst the right starts up properly. And it is loud outside. Real loud. But the sounds are very nice with this aircraft. It sounds very realistic as far as I can tell. From my limited experience of being around turboprops, that is a loud, noisy bugger that definitely rattles your bones. Okay, so let's get ourselves taxied out here at Orcas Island. Give it 10 degrees of flaps for this takeoff. Although I might try the Twin Otter Special. In fact, we're going to try the Twin Otter Special. So we'll see in just a second. So I'm going to set full flaps here. And we're going to do some silly things. Flaps course up there on the overhead along with the throttles. Very much a float plane thing, having the throttles up above you, but it makes the Twin Otter itself a simpler aircraft because the control cables for the engines and flaps on the wings are all above you. It's a straight run to them. Okay, so let's let the prop governors take over here. We'll run up our power. Let the prop governor engage. Let me turn my head on. There we go. Okay. Governor should have caught by there. Full throttle. Release brakes. Keep our nose down. And we should literally come off the runway. One hand on the throttle still. And we're away. In no distance whatsoever. Way slower than we really should be. Pull those flaps up, keep the nose down. And where are we? We are already passing through 200 feet before the end of the actual runway. So Twin Otter is very capable as an aircraft. And Bitchy Betty will annoy you in this one if I do too much of this. Yeah, bank angle. Gotta love that, right? Now, this has often been a favourite aircraft of mine, and between it, the Beaver, the Otter, and the Twin Otter, I love my de Havilland Canada aircraft, and texture quality-wise, it does look a lot like the Twin Otter Extended, but that's not a bad thing, because that looked very good. The aircraft itself is very, very functional. Absolutely love what we're getting from Aerosoft with this. All the controls are functional and operate as intended. Yes, everything up there. My flaps are retracted, yes. We'll bring her round here towards Orcas Island, and we'll look back for our circuit and put her back in for this test flight. And I'm going to try and land as short as possible with this. Because what's good is a test flight if we don't test things. In fact, I'll do a short stall test en route. Because our approach speed should be about 70, well, stall speed 73 knots. Approach speed should be lower than 85 with 20-degree flaps. So we're just going to see what she does with a little bit of bush flying. I'd rather practice this en route than before that. So flaps going to full. Keep our nose high here. Let the speed bleed off. I want the stall horn to come on. See how she behaves here. A little bit of wing dip here to see if it wants to roll to either side. It doesn't. That stall horn's very annoying, but it means we'll descend very, very, very sharply with that. Let's pull those flaps in. Get the speed back going again. Airport's on our left. Okay. So we're not going to do a full-on drag approach with this one. That's for really silly airports. But with the Twin Otter's capabilities, it should more than manage. We'll go for a routine short landing for this one. Like I say, some sound and animation, D6 if you will, with this being a beta aircraft. It's not finished. And as someone who's done my own side of development, I really want to make sure you guys are aware of that. This is not a finished product. Because it doesn't really set off what it can be for Aerosoft first. And I've seen many aircraft released into the flight sim market for the new sim in this sort of state as released paid products. Aerosoft are taking their time, they're letting people take a look at it, but it is still very much in beta. Engine sound and start sounds is definitely one thing I've noticed. Some animations, the prop discs is one that's notable to me. Let's take a look outside for a second here. Some of the prop discs look very mucky. This one's not one of them. This one looks decent. but some of them look really silly and a little bit kind of opaque. But this aircraft is a beauty. Lots of elevated deflection there because I'm running slow speed. I need to get back in the cockpit and put some power on here. In fact, I need to put flaps down at this point to help add some trim to account for that massive amount of... there we go. Much nicer. So we're coming in towards AUKUS now. The aircraft will do a lot of beautiful things, so let's go and try one of those, shall we? So runway is off our left there. Pull the power down. There's definitely some stepping in the engine sounds, I've noticed that much. That's probably something I think they'll be fixing. We'll go for 30-degree flaps right now. There appears to be some delays in the sounds for the flaps, and there are definitely some steps in engine note, which is unusual. I'm sure they're going to fix that. I've not really noticed anything visually wrong with the aircraft so far. It looks very good. But it's definitely a stepping with the sounds. Of course, you can open these in flight. There is no wind sound, but hey. And I'm not sure whether or not we'll be able to pull the windows themselves open at some point, but we'll find out. That does nothing. Okay, we're on final. We're a little bit off center, so let's give it a little bit more motion, and go full flaps here. Stall horn was just notifying us there. We're a little bit slow, but I'm trying to be as slow as possible here. I am full flap approach for this. Now sure, this thing could take off at AUKUS with no flaps whatsoever. I went for a full flap takeoff just to see what stupid things it'd do. And like this approach, I'm going to be going for the same sort of attitude. I'm going to try and put it down at the start of the asphalt here. Yeah. Stall horn, shush. Give it some more power. Get the nose up. My turboprop blush flying is still in its infancy. The Kodiak's making me learn, as are a couple of other aircraft, but like the Porter, most notably as well. But I'm going to try and put this down as short as possible. Minimums, yes, thank you. I'm not an airliner. Yes, stall horn. I stopped being afraid of the stall horn a long time ago.
100.
Okay. Power.
50, 40, 30.
Okay, cut the power there. I'm coming in a little bit.
20.
Nose up. And we're down. Reverse. Twin Otter can handle bumpy landings. Well, hello. I just stood it up on the tail. Let's put some power in forwards there. Let it back down. There we go. And where are we? I'll take it. I will take it. More than a capable aircraft, I think, in that regard. We're not even at the numbers yet. The numbers are there. In fact, I'm going to be a troll. Beep, beep, beep. Twin Otter reversing. Beep, beep, beep. Twin Otter reversing. Yeah, I'm not going to keep doing that. That's annoying, isn't it? Let her roll gently to a stop before applying forward power, rather than touching the brakes whilst in reverse. Because that can be very bad for your aircraft's tail. We'll taxi off the runway here. What do I think? I think this is a really cracking aircraft. It has next to zero impact on FPS at the sim. I expected quite a bit, and it has none. So if you are aware of that, or considerate of that, or concerned about that, don't be. This has no FPS impact. We haven't got the full details from Aerosoft yet on everything that it will include and do, but I am so far impressed. And for the price, considering what we've been released recently, in terms of that €30 price mark, about the $35, $40 mark, there have been a lot worse releases than this. I can't really give it a score yet, but high. And if this means anything to you flight simmers out there that watch these videos, I don't always continue flying the aircraft I review. A small selection of those aircraft I review have been retained in my stable for personal flight. This is going to be one of them. This is definitely going to be an aircraft I will fly. This is fun. It's turn that off there. This is an aircraft I enjoy, and that has definitely, I think, lived up to what I was hoping it could be in this simulator. Can it be more? Well, we'll have to see what Aerosoft do. But for the meanwhile, I will safely say my initial impressions of what is a beta variant of this aircraft are positive. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.